But I want to introduce an addict that's in recovery, who's been in leadership for many years, who oversees our Celebrate Recovery ministry, and is a dear friend of mine. Would you guys warmly welcome Pete Mandel as he shares his story?
Hi, I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I'm in recovery from meth addiction and for alcoholism, and my name is Pete. So I was born in June of 1973 in Portland, Oregon. My father was a hard-working man and an alcoholic. My mother was also hard-working, but she suffered from mental health issues. My parents went to the hospital late in the evening. My father decided to wait until after midnight to check in because they got to the hospital about 10:30 and he didn't want to pay for a whole day. So at about 1:30 in the morning, so you can do the math, I was born. By the time I reached 1, my parents decided to divorce. My mom had caught my dad at the bar on several occasions flirting with other women. My dad played in the bars in a band. He was a lead guitar player. I do not remember any of this, but what I do remember is living in a split family from as long as I know. At the age of 5, I decided to run away. I was living with my mom in Salem. I was clever. I packed my bag. I snuck out the door, down the sidewalk, and down the highway, down 99E. I was headed to Woodburn, where my dad lives. I got picked up on the side of a road by a man in a 4x4 truck pulled over and picked me up. He asked me what I was doing, and I told him my story. Hey, yeah, I'm going to see my dad. I live with my mom. He started driving down the road towards Woodburn, I'm guessing. For some reason, I knew something was wrong. And I just said, yeah, I live with my mom, and it's that way. So he ended up turning around and taking me back to my mom's house. So I was 5 when this happened. Turns out he was a police officer. I think I got real lucky on that one. Not long after this, my mom decided to give me to my dad. He had just been remarried not long before. My stepmom was very mean to me. She was a hard worker too, though. She actually taught me a lot of things and how to cook and how to clean. There were some sexual abuse issues when I was a kid. It wasn't with anybody in my family, but it was a trusted member, family friend of my stepmom. I really don't remember most of it. I don't remember most of my childhood, actually. I have some memories, but they really start fading in about 6th or 7th grade. At this point, I was pretty much doing my best just to get along. I was not popular or liked in school. I was actually picked on. I remember being scared that some of the neighbors were going to beat me up at the bus stop for school. I pretty much rode my bike every day to school. I learned small things. As a little kid, I learned how to hustle. I would stop by the store and buy candy and Jolt and sell them to make money at school to support my own habit. I started playing basketball and playing the saxophone in the 6th grade. I wasn't very good, but I guess everybody has to start out somewhere, right? I finally did start to put my best foot forward in my life. Going into high school, I focused more. I decided I wanted to do something. I earned mostly A's in high school. I received 10 varsity letters. I was in National Honor Society. I competed in saxophone competitions, and I ran varsity track and cross country. I applied to the military academies, and I was accepted into West Point, which is in New York. I only made it 1 year at West Point. I came home, and I started hard into my addiction. I'd started drinking alcohol a year before going to the academy. This spiraled now because I found something that makes me feel important. When I drank, it was lights out. Let's just say I don't do anything halfway. I started smoking weed also. I just went crazy. I dated many girls because that was the one thing that made me feel like I belonged. The only problem with that is that I did not know anything about having a relationship. I didn't have anybody in my life to show me those things. All I knew was partying and chaos. The family I grew up in was all about drinking and violence. I guess you could say it's a family tradition. So I ended up getting a girl pregnant. We decided to get married. We had another baby 5 years later. Then divorced. By this time, I had found meth. Yes, I'm talking about methamphetamines. This new drug completely took over my life. It wasn't long before I was selling, because that's what I do. I was hustling and making ends meet any way I could. This new drug took me into prison. I was convicted of commercial delivery of meth on more than one occasion. I've been to prison twice. I have 8 felony charges. I even have 1 felon in possession of a firearm charge. My last time in prison, I really decided to lean on God. This wasn't the only encounter in my life with God. I grew up going to church, but mostly by myself. My mom's family was Catholic. My dad never went to church. I ended up going to a Lutheran church in Woodburn because it was where my uncle went. I was in and out of church my whole life. I was just never really in. I wasn't ever really committed to church, but I think there was something about it that I knew was right. Now, in jail for the last time, looking at a long set, and I have decided finally that I am done and really want to do something new. It wasn't easy, though. It took me being in jail for about a month and a half. See, November 23rd, 2011 is when I got locked up for the last time. Okay. It takes time for my brain to get out of the haze of being high on meth. This was a very difficult time for me, but it's not like I haven't been through it before. I start praying and reading my Bible daily, and I know that my life starts to change. I ask God for help, and I get offered to go to treatment in prison. And I tell you what, that is not fun. I get transferred to Deer Ridge Correctional Facility in Madras, and I start my journey of recovery. I actually have no idea what recovery is. I wasn't really looking for recovery. I was just looking for something. I get released from prison in December of 2012. I paroled to my sister's house in Malala. Within 30 days, I'm looking in the paper and I find a recovery group. It says, Celebrate Recovery. I really do not know what I am looking for or have any idea what to expect. I'm really shy and I'm just looking to make some changes in my life. God has taken over as much as I would let him, and I begin my recovery journey. I start working as a flagger. I go to meetings daily, and within a year, I find As Is Church. I moved to Portland. 1 year out of prison, still on probation. I had 5 years of zero tolerance probation. I get hired at the Portland VA hospital as a federal employee. So this is kind of a big deal, let me just tell you. So the way this process worked is I went through this program that the VA offers in vocational rehabilitation. It is called the CWT program. And what it is they give you an opportunity to work with people at a place. So I went to the hospital, I started working with tradesmen. And they told me this will give you an opportunity to get a federal job, right? And I'm like, you're kidding me, you know who I am. So I do this, I go there, and I'm working for about 7 months and a position comes open. I apply for this position. They accept me for the position, but about a month later, I get a letter from Human Resources and they said, oh yeah, lo and behold, guess what? We look at your background and we decide you're not a good candidate for federal employment. So I was pretty much crushed, but the people at work, they rallied behind me because I was honest with them from the beginning. I'm on probation, I gotta check in with my PO, I'm a drug addict, I'm going to church. So my boss calls me in and he asks me some questions and he tells me, well, you haven't told me anything to give me a reason why I wouldn't hire you. They set out a meeting with HR. We go to HR and these guys, they come after me. I mean, what do you expect, right? You're trying to hire some 8-time felon that's got drunk convictions and gun convictions. And so we get out of the meeting and my boss tells me, oh, you did great, you're hired. And I'm like, were we in the same meeting here? Lo and behold, the next day I got a letter saying that I was accepted. So God is moving mountains in my life, and I'm just starting to realize it. I'm all in. I get involved with everything I can. I was asked to be a leader at As Is Celebrate Recover immediately. I helped with sound and video at CR and at church. I am leading small groups. I help to set up for church, and I'm also helping with the worship team. I end up being on the prayer team and helping in kids ministry. I think I already told you that I don't do anything halfway. I even get asked to help with the men's retreats. I think for years, I was at church 5 days a week. I'm still here 3 or 4 days a week. One thing I have done that was never in my bag of tricks before was to involve God in everything that I do. I'm telling you that I have made that I have not made all the right decisions or that my life has not been so easy since giving it to Him. I think God has allowed me to make all the decisions that I wanted to make. One thing for sure, though, He's never left my side. Another thing I have done is get married again. Oh, yeah. I left out that in the middle of all that chaos, I got married a couple times. So I'm on my 4th marriage, by the way, and I just want to say it hasn't been easy for me at all. But I've asked God for help, and I've reached out to God and people, and it's made a huge difference. So I'm still married, and I'm thankful. I have opened up to all the people in my life and prayed to God for assistance with all of my issues. The one thing I know for sure is that God is right there holding His hand out whenever I reach for His help. So now I want to talk a little bit about Celebrate Recovery. Celebrate Recovery is such an amazing ministry. This program God put in my life when I really needed to learn how to grow up. It's kind of personal to me. I need to learn how to grow up and be a man. We do everything in CR, I believe, that the Bible teaches us we need to do to be successful in His kingdom. One of the things that God has shown me that is so important is mentoring people. I've never had any real mentors in my life before this. In CR, we sponsor others. This means that we walk this life out with others. We have accountability. Accountability is one of those hard words that nobody likes. I think people get this word wrong a lot. To me, what real accountability means is reaching out when I have a problem, is reaching out when I do something wrong, is reaching out when I have a decision. That's what accountability is. It's not me asking somebody, what did you do? And I know that I have felt so many times when I reach out that I am such a problem. And I am the one with so many problems. I have felt so many times like, why do I have to be the one with all these problems? Nobody feels that way, right? I still kind of feel that way, but it is getting better. In CR, we do a step study for those that want to dig deeper into the issues in their life and to ask God to take control. I do one every other year. A step study is a time to submit my will to God, to ask for His guidance, to share with my brothers, or for the ladies, we have ladies ones too, to share with my brothers, to be honest and transparent, to develop relationships, and to learn how to be a better man or a woman for those of you that are women, and to really learn to give my life to God and to trust Him with everything. We share a meal together at CR every week. We have testimonies and lessons. We mentor, we listen, we open up, we serve. I really believe that God made this program as a place for us to learn and to grow. If you are interested, we meet here every Monday night. That's tomorrow night. Every Monday night at 6:30. We start at 6:30 with a community prayer and a meal. We go into large groups. Large groups, we have a lesson or a testimony. And then we go into small groups. Small groups are broken up in men and women so that we can share with people what's going on in our life. Everybody has an opportunity to share. And at Celebrate Recovery, we do not come to judge people and to fix people. We ask God to do that. We just share what's going on because confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed, James 5:16, right? So, also, if you think you have some issues that recovery doesn't cover, well, at CR, we call them hurts, habits, and hang-ups. What that means, if you have any area in your life that you feel like is lacking, that you feel like you're having problems with, it could be overeating, it could be depression, it could be relationships, it could be anything. You have a place to come. You have a place to come and share and just say, I want to do something different in my life. I want to learn how to be better. I want to learn how to be healthier, because I don't really know what healthy means. So I have one more thing I want to share with you, if I can find it. And this is something that is really important to me, and this is Matthew 5, verses 14 and 16. It says, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket. but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Thank you.